Hi, I'm McKenna, and I'm going to share with you my pile of possibilities for middle grade March, including the 5 prompts, which are a book with flowers on the cover, a book written by an author with 3 names, a book in a series, a book with travel in it, a book written in the 1900s, and just some books that I thought looked fun. Starting with the group read, Moon Garden, which is a modern sci-fi retelling of The Secret Garden. And it also fits the prompt of flowers on the cover, because it has flowers on the cover. And then another book that fits that prompt is Olivetti, which is narrated by a typewriter. And it's basically this kid named Ernest. His mom goes missing or dies. And the Ernest is using the typewriter to try and find his mom because the typewriter is writing back. So it's using what the mom Beatrice has written to it, and it's rewriting it to Ernest. Our next prompt is a book where the author has 3 names, and we are going to start with The Ghostly Photos. And the author is Margaret Peterson Haddix. And this is actually book 2. The first book was The Secret Letters, and it's about these 2 kids, Colin and Nevaeh. And they basically go through people's attics and take out their junk, and then they find letters in the first book, and then they start solving these mysteries, and so then they're trying to solve more mysteries. And this girl comes to them with photos of a ghost. Very interesting. Our next book is also a Margaret Peterson Haddix book, and it is called Under Their Skin. And it is about these 2 kids, and their mom is getting remarried. And she's telling them that their life isn't going to change much, but they're moving, they're getting a new stepdad, they're getting a stepbrother and stepsister, but they're never going to see their stepbrother or stepsister. And so now they're trying to solve the mystery of why they're never going to see them. Our next prompt is in a series, and starting with Heat by Mike Lupica. And it's about this pitcher, and he's 12 years old, and he's from Cuba, and he's I'm pretty sure he's illegally living in the United States. And so everyone is how is this kid so good? But if they find out where he's from, he'll be sent back to Cuba, where he has no family. His only family is his older brother Carlos, who's in the United States. And so he really needs to make sure that he does not get sent back. Our next book that's in a series is Ghost by Jason Reynolds. And I don't know much about it, but it's about this kid, and he's really fast, and he's had a bit of a tough life. And so on the front it says running for his life or from it. So it sounded very interesting, and I've heard it recommended by many people. So next book in a series is The City Spies. This is book 6, London Calling. And it's a found family. And all these kids are orphaned, and they don't have a home, and then they become spies, and they go on missions, and it's very, very interesting. And their dad, well, their adopted dad, they call him Mother. And so it's very interesting. It's a very good book. The next book in series is The Wingfeather Saga by Andrew Peterson. This is the 4th book, The Warden and the Wolf King, and it's about this family, and there's 3 kids, and then their mom and their grandpa, and they live in this dystopian fantasy world, and it's just about the dangers that are there with these magical creatures and the ruler and all this stuff, and it's really good. As you can see, I'm on the 4th book. And then those also fit in travel, The Wingfeather Saga and City Spies. Then another book that fits in travel is Listening for Lions by Gloria Wellham. And it's about this girl, and her parents are missionaries in East Africa, and then they both die of influenza, and so she's left an orphan. And so she goes and like she gets like this family takes her in, but then like she's like realizing that like they don't really have good intentions, and they end up like going across the ocean, and she's trying to figure out all this stuff, and like it's like they're not looking like they're good people. So the next book, I guess the next prompt is 1900s, and we have The Friendship by Mildred G. Taylor. And this is the author that wrote one of my favorite books, which is Roll of Thunder, Hear My Cry. And it's about, it's like set in, like right after Civil War. And so there's still like a bunch of segregation, and it's just about this girl and her family and like how they have to live through it. Next book, another one of my favorites, is The Westing Game by Ellen Raskin, and it is about this guy who dies, but he was this like eccentric billionaire, and so everyone's wondering like who's going to get all his money because he has like no relatives, or so it seems. And so then there's all these people in the apartments, and they have to play this game, the Westing Game, to find out who's going to get the money. And then there's like a whole twist, and it's literally so good. I would totally recommend. Our next book is A Series of Unfortunate Events, which also fits into series. And it was written in the 1900s. And it is about these two orphans, and they just have, they go through a series of very unfortunate events. The next book is The Hardy Boys by Franklin W. Dixon, which also fits into the three names category and the series category. But it was also written in the 1900s. And this is actually book 4, which is The Missing Chums. And it's about two boys, Frank and Joe Hardy, and they solve mysteries. And it's kind of similar to like Nancy Drew, but like it's based on like two boys. The next book, this one is not in either of our prompts, or any of our prompts, and it is called Ice Drift. It is by Theodore Taylor, and it is about these two boys that live in the Arctic with like their family, and they're on this like ice floe that's attached to their island, and they're fishing, and like hunting seals, and then all of a sudden the ice floe breaks off, and so it's just them two, and for 6 months they're floating down the Greenland Strait, like hoping to get rescued and wondering what's going to happen to them. Next book, this one is also not in any of the prompts, but we have Sweetness All Around by Suzanne Suppley, and it is about this girl who moves into this trailer park, and she like does not really like it there. Like she doesn't like the people, she doesn't like the place. But then she finds out that, like, I think it's before she moves, her next door neighbor, a 10-year-old girl, gets kidnapped. And so she's trying to solve, like, what happened and find out where she is. And so she meets a bunch of the neighbors and starts, like, enjoying it more. And she's also trying to figure out where her neighbor is. But I'm super excited to read these books. I hope that you can also find some of them interesting. Bye. Of
The Secret Garden.
Starting
This is embarrassing.
starting with the group read.